with Italian citizenship on the way and more options than I could ever imagine opening up for me in Europe, I found myself considering a question that I've never even had the luxury of considering before, which is, would I still choose Portugal if I had a bunch of other options available to me? And this is not a question that I've ever even needed to think about before, because every decision I've made in this whole moving abroad process has been almost exclusively based on visa availability and whether I would be allowed to stay long-term in a country. But now, with an EU passport soon to come and options opening up across the EU for me, I actually can sit down and think, like, where do I actually want to be, and is that still Portugal? And that definitely led me down a little bit of a mental tour of Europe, and I started imagining what my life might look like in different areas. And since I'm one of the most indecisive people that I know, I expected it to take months, if not years, for me to figure out an answer to this question. But I had my moment of clarity a lot sooner than I expected. So I recently went to Milan for a few days and it was pretty cool. It was a big city, kind of similar to New York. It was full of style and had a lot of things going on, but it never really felt like me. And I guess getting that outside perspective of like what life could be like in a different city actually really helped, because before I even left the Porto airport, I was like, wow, this kind of feels like home. And I guess how quickly I stumbled upon that answer surprised me, because when I chose Portugal, I wasn't choosing it because it was my dream country. I was choosing it because it had a visa program I qualified for, and I'd heard good things about Portugal from other people. But somewhere along the way, I guess it really became my home. And despite having been here for 2.5 years, I still feel like I'm in the very early stages of building a life here. I have so much more work to do when it comes to building a community, making friends, and even learning the language, because I am embarrassingly far behind in Portuguese. But even though things are not perfect here for me, I realize I do actually love it here, and I want to at least try to build a life for myself here. And I say try because even though I'm not on a visa timeline anymore, I do once again find myself on about a 1-year timeline to make it work to stay in Portugal. So unfortunately, I found myself unemployed again, which means that I need to find a job to be able to afford to live here. And in this job market, I would not be surprised if that does end up taking around a year. And while I do have savings, they will be gone by 1 year from now. So I have 1 year to find myself a job that can pay for a life in Portugal. I also, in about a year as well, will need to either renew the lease on my apartment or leave my apartment for good. And on top of that, I will also, in about a year, need to renew my residency as well. So with all of this stuff converging in about a year or a year and a half, I got a lot to figure out. And I'm trying to approach this calmly, which definitely is not my default setting. I'm normally someone who panics about a lot of change, but I don't think panicking is going to help in this case. So I'm trying to think of this as like a year to reset, a year to find what I'm passionate about and find sustainable work. I want to take the time to rediscover Portugal as cheaply as humanly possible and explore the areas that I haven't had a chance to look at yet. And of course, I just want to put my best foot forward and give myself the best possible chance of staying here. So if you've got any advice on finding a job in this market, one that can be done from Portugal, and ideally one that you are passionate about, I would really, 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 really appreciate any advice anyone has on that matter. And if you feel like sticking around as I figure out my life this next year, and maybe explore Portugal a little bit as well, I'd really love to have you. And if you've made it this far, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time.